The US and the UK have now imposed new sanctions on Iran just days after that attack on Israel. Individuals connected to the Revolutionary Guard, the Defense Ministry, as well as firms involved in drone production have been targeted by the new sanctions. US President Joe Biden says the move has been coordinated with G7 countries. Let's bring in our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett. She joins us now from Washington, D.C. So, Kimberly, a united front. These sanctions were announced in coordination with G7 leaders. What more can you tell us?
That's right. Well, as you mentioned, they are targeting leaders and entities connected with the IRGC. They are also targeting Iran's defense ministry and the missile and drone program. And as you will recall, it was missiles and drones that were fired by Iran towards Israel on Saturday evening, as you mentioned, in retaliation for the attack on the consulate in Damascus. Now, what the White House is saying is that it is really committed, along with its partners and allies, to destabilizing the efforts of Iran to be able to carry out another attack like the one that occurred on Saturday evening. So that's what these sanctions are all about. So not only has the UK also done this, but expect that other G7 nations will be doing the same in the coming days.
OK, Kimberly. And also, what more do we know about a virtual meeting between the US and Israel over this highly anticipated ground offensive in Rafah?
Well, what we know is that initially it was planned to be in person. And given the fact that this attack occurred on Saturday evening, that meant that Israeli officials who had planned to fly to Washington decided to stay in place in Israel. So they are not present. Instead, this is a virtual meeting, as you mentioned. What we know is that the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, is convening the meeting, according to the National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby. It is being attended by U.S. and Israeli officials, and what is being discussed is really the future of the Israeli operation in terms of a ground offensive into Rafah. And of course, many of our viewers are well aware that there are more than 1 million and almost 1.5 million people sheltering there, Palestinians in Rafah. The United States is opposed to any sort of Israeli ground operation there. In fact, this is the second meeting of its kind, and the United States has repeatedly been presenting alternatives to Israel in terms of what can be done instead of this ground operation. The argument by Israel is that there are Hamas operatives that are operating in there, hiding out amongst the population, and that is the reason for the need for this ground operation. Still, the United States trying to find alternatives, and so the goal of this meeting, according to John Kirby, is to try and find common ground. So we're watching this very carefully. Apparently, there will be a readout coming out of this meeting, and so we are awaiting that.
OK, we'll wait and see with you. Kimberly, many thanks indeed for joining us there from the White House.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.